What's the time?
4:51.
Really? Okay. Now, in your testimony to the deposition, for the deposition, when the small group met and you testified before Congress, the committee people, and they asked you about your prior knowledge that Senator Mitchell wanted to talk to you prior to the Mitchell report.
Okay.
At page 115, let's just show it to him.
No, that, I don't think you have it.
You don't have
No,
it. You don't have it.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's all
Yeah.
theirs.
There you go.
But I've lost my stickers. There we go. We're up to 11, correct? Yes.
Do we have another
Mhm.
copy of that or not? Let's see. Let me just check it. So.
Yes, we do.
115.
This is your copy, but we do have the third one somewhere.
Where's his answer? Where's
Here's
his answer?
yours.
Where's the answer? That is correct. Yeah. All right, right. Mr. Okay.
So,
on
hold on.
page.
Why don't you use this version?
All right.
And
Well, you-
this is the front version. This is the version for
Thank you.
115, 2/3 of the way down the page.
115?
Yes. I don't have line numbers on mine, but it's, the question starts, do you have line numbers on yours?
No.
All right. Question starts, but at that time, in July timeframe, Mr. Hendricks never said to you, by the way, Senator Mitchell wants to talk with you. I don't know what it is about, but he wants to talk with you as part of his investigation. And your answer is, that is correct. Is that your
Now, which part are you reading him? I'm sorry.
bottom of 115?
Right.
Question and answer. Is it your understanding that your agents and that no one contacted you about talking to Senator Mitchell about the allegations that you were using PEDs?
Senator Mitchell himself or Senator Mitchell's
Senator
investigators?
Mitchell or any of his investigators or
Yeah.
people?
Mr. Hendricks is the one that's referred to in there is my lawyer, and Senator Mitchell, I don't know. I think he said it was Mitchell's investigators.
But he did tell you were informed that Mitchell's investigators wanted to talk to you?
I believe so, that something was said. Again, I don't know the time frame, but I believe they were, the investigators wanted to talk, and I assumed it was about the LA Times report. Again, that's what I remember.
Okay. You thought it was about the LA Times report?
I believe so.
And you thought that even though there appears to have been a letter to the Players Association identifying you as someone who used steroids in 1998 at the Blue Jays and then 2000 and 2001 at the Yankees.
Object to
Does
the
that,
form.
does that conform with your position that this was about the Grimsley affidavit?
I don't know that I actually saw the letter from the Players Association.
But you did know at some point that Senator Mitchell wanted to talk to you, or Senator Mitchell's people wanted to talk to you. Oh, I never did this right. Sorry. You did know at some point, before the Mitchell, several months before the Mitchell report came out, that Senator Mitchell and his people, or Senator Mitchell's people, wanted to talk to you.
I don't know the time frame. I don't know how. I just don't know the time frame.
So when you say here that, let me get this right. The problem is there are no lines on this damn page. Where is this? Debbie, you know, I have no idea. Right. Okay, thank you. Up here, right. Up here where it says the witness on the top of page 115 or towards the top. You see that?
Yes.
Okay, so let's start with the question from Mr. Barnett on the previous page at the bottom. Barnett says, that's why I think my question has been confusing. I wasn't trying to ask you when you knew about the allegations. I'm asking you, when did you know that Senator Mitchell, Mr. Hardin says, I am saying the same thing. Mr. Barnett continues, when Senator Mitchell wanted to talk with you about, Senator Mitchell wanted to talk to you as part of his investigation. And then you respond, I had no idea that Senator Mitchell wanted to talk to me. If it was about baseball and steroids in general, I would have wanted to see him. And obviously, if I knew Brian McNamee was stating about me in his report, I would have been there. Now, that's not exactly what you just said, is it? You said you had an idea that Senator Mitchell's people wanted to talk to you about, you say, the Grimsley matter, right?
I don't think I knew that Senator Mitchell was part of that. I don't know who sent the, I would imagine, again, I don't know who sent the letter. And it was confusing, as you see with Mr. Barnett here. And again, I don't know the time frame. I just know, I believe the first time that I heard that about anybody wanting to see me as far as Senator Mitchell's people, I think there was a conversation between Randy Hendricks and I, and I assumed it was about the Grimsley report.
But you declined to go in, is that correct? And talk?
Yes, on the advice of...
All right, let's look at 141 and 142. That's to baseball. And hold on a second, I gotta find the right place because there's no damn lines here. 141, 142, sorry. Here it is. No. Sorry, just hold on a second. I gotta find the right spot. Oh, I don't get it. It's not here. I don't see a 141, 142. It's a good thing there's no jury sitting here, huh? Just you. Oh, so it's a wrong thing. All right. Well, then we'll where is it in you have the hearing testimony, that portion?
Thank you.
Take that back. So let me represent to you that at page 141 and 142, is that the right page on the hearing, Debbie?
No, it's page
139 of the hearing?
Yes.
Let
Is
me-
this going to be Exhibit 12?
No, we're just going to represent to you that he said the following in
Okay.
page 139 of the hearing.
Okay.
I was not told about to come down and visit with Senator Mitchell. He was, I believe he asked the Players Association is the way that the process worked, and the Players Association then contacted agents. But no, sir, I was never told by my baseball agent or the Players Association that Mr. Mitchell requested to see me. Those letters or phone calls never came to me. But once again, if I knew what the lies this man were telling me about, I would have been down there to see him in a heartbeat without a question. So is that, you remember saying words to that effect in the congressional hearing? Does that sound correct?
I believe so.
Okay. So the state of affairs prior to the Mitchell report coming out and prior to your hearing about the Murray-McNamee conversation on the phone prior to the Mitchell report, at some point was that you were asked to come and speak to Senator Mitchell and or his people, and you declined. Is that correct?
Again, I'm not sure of the dates, but I think at one point that Mr. Hendricks obviously had told me about that, and then about visiting with not Senator Mitchell, but I think his staff.
But you were informed by your agents that they wanted you to come down and discuss steroids in baseball, right?
I'm not sure of the topic either. I mean, again,
Well, you thought it was a Grimsley affidavit? Sorry.
I did. I just remember that being I thought that was what it was about, yes.
And the Grimsley affidavit was about steroids in baseball, right?
I think it was it might have had something in there with that. Again, I don't know, but I just remember it said that I'd worked out with him, or he made some statements that obviously weren't true once we got to the bottom of everything.
Right. But you have no recollection of, in the course of those requests for you to come and talk to the Mitchell people, them saying that this was about allegations that you took steroids in 98, 2000, or PEDs and steroids in 98, 2000, and 2001.
I'm not sure if that is what Randy Hendricks spoke to me about or not.
And in any event, you decided not to appear or not to cooperate with the investigators.
Object to the form.
Again, that
Yeah.
was from what I was told from counsel.
Right. And did counsel tell you, did you have a reason that you understood for not having cooperated?
Without going into what Randy
Yeah,
told
without,
you, if you just
what
go
was
into
your,
your own thought process.
yeah, what was your reason for not cooperating?
Again, I thought it had to do with about a report about me that was false, and it turned out to be false.
Well, if it was false, why wouldn't you go down there and tell them that it was false and explain to them, answer their questions?
Object to the form.
Again, talking to Randy Hendricks, he advised me not to.
Okay. And did he advise you that you might be put in a situation where you could be charged with perjury if you did that?
No objection to anything Randy Hendricks told
Well,
you.
did you have any understanding that you risked what was called a 1001 violation for not telling the truth to a federal official if you cooperated and went down there and talked?
He's not a federal official.
Well, there were FBI agents present. That's why they were present for that exact reason.
Object to the form.
So, did you have any discussion that this could put you in a more difficult situation?
Object to any discussion he had with Randy Hendricks.
Right. Did you have any understanding that there was a risk to you if you cooperated with Senator Mitchell and his people?
I don't believe that was talked about with Randy and I.
Okay. And you, approximately 8 days or so before the Mitchell report came out, you learned that you and Andy Pettit were going to be named, and you learned that indirectly from Brian McNamee, right?
Object to the form.
You can answer.
Again, I think there was a recording or something that was played that Jim Murray had recorded.
Right. And you learned at that time from that recording that you were going to be named.
Object to the form.
Again, I don't know if they were going to be names were going to, I don't know that I remember that part of it.
It wasn't conveyed to you by Mr. Murray that McNamee had said that he had named you and that Mitchell was going to name you in the report?
I wasn't with Jim Murray.
Well, conveyed from Jim Murray somehow through Hendricks or whoever else.
Again, I don't remember.
Did you ever learn it?
I don't remember everything that was in the tape recording.
Okay. So, did you ever make an effort before the Mitchell report to keep your name out of it?
I was talking to Mr. Hendricks, and again, I'm not sure where those discussions went, but
did you ever seek to say, look, this is false, Mr. Mitchell, Senator Mitchell. I don't want you to go ahead with this until you listen to me now that I know that I'm going to be named as a steroid user in this report?
again, I don't know Senator Mitchell and never met him.
But
So-
you would have no trouble having your people contact his people to set up such a meeting, would you?
I'm not sure that they didn't talk to the Mitchell people at some point. I'm not.
Well, do you have any information that they did talk to the Mitchell people to say that this was a false report and you wanted to eradicate this before it harmed you and your brand and everything else in your life?
I'm not sure about that.
But you did know that it was coming in the next few days unless you did something about it.
Object to the form.
Again, speaking with Randy Hendricks, and we were talking about, I guess, what we were going to do to defend myself.
Well, one of the things you could have done to defend yourself is try and convince Senator Mitchell not to put it in the report, right?
Object to the form.
Well, if I stated that if I knew what was going to be in the report, I would have done exactly that.
But Mr. Murray somehow communicated to you somehow that McNamee had told him that you and Pettit were going to be in the report, right? He worked for Mr. Hendricks at that time, isn't that right?
I believe Mr. Murray did, yes, but again, I don't remember that in the recording that was played.
Well, you went and retained Rusty Hardin, did you not, before the Mitchell report came out?
I believe so.
And you did that because you thought you were going to be named in the report, right?
Object to the form.
You can answer.
I was hiring Rusty to defend me through allegations that weren't true.
Right, because you thought that you were going to be named in the Mitchell report by these so-called allegations.
I don't know if names are a little confusing, but I'm not sure that names are going to be named.
Well, why would you go hire the fanciest law firm in Houston if you didn't,
Note my exception.
if you didn't, you weren't worried about being named in the report?
Again, I don't know what Senator Mitchell is or who he is or a firm or whatever they were doing, but on advice from Randy Hendricks, that's what we did.
Well, isn't that advice because you were afraid of getting prosecuted if you didn't tell the truth when you went to see Mr. Mitchell, Senator Mitchell?
Object to the form.
Again, I was just trying to defend myself.
Right. Well, let me see if I can understand your thinking here. Wouldn't the best thing for your life have been to have not been named in the Mitchell report?
Well, sure.
And didn't Senator Mitchell and his people convey to your agent that you had an opportunity to come down and rebut the charges that you had used PEDs and steroids from 1998, 2000, and 2001?
Object to the form.
Again, I learned that one person must have told them that.
And you learned that before the report came out. You hired Rusty Harden as a result of it.
I may have on the recording. Again, I just don't remember the
And you
bulk of
learned
the
it on the
recording.
recording 8 days before the report came out, right?
Again, I don't know if they were naming names or there was a lot on that recording.
But McNamee said that he had told them, on pain of threat of being put in jail, he had told them that you had used steroids and HGH among other in the years 1998, 2000, 2001. He said it on the recording, right? And he told them that.
I believe so. I think he told the Mitchell people that.
Right, and then you learned that 8 days before, and you hired Rusty Harden as a result of learning that at Mr. Hendricks' request.
Again, I don't know the timeline or the bulk of what was on that recording, but I know that along with Randy Hendricks being attorney, I hired Rusty and his people.
But nobody made any effort, as far as you know, to go to Senator Mitchell and say, don't do this, put this off. You're going to defame Roger Clemens, you're going to ruin his life, and he's innocent. Nobody did that. You didn't do it, nobody else did that for you.
I don't think that, again, I don't know that Rusty or Randy spoke with the Mitchell people.
You don't have any information that they did or didn't.
Again, I can't remember. I'm just...
Right. But you didn't say, I'm innocent, go fix this, I'm paying you X number of dollars because I don't want to be named in that report, so keep me out of it.
I think I told my representatives that it's false, what's being said about me.
Right. Now, when you told Congress at the public hearing, correct, that, quote, I was never told by my agent that Mr. Mitchell requested to see me, that was not the truth. Isn't that right?
Say that
Object
again?
to the form.
When you
Would
told...
you put into the question Mitchell or his, see, that's the distinction he's drawing.
Well, is that the distinction you're drawing? That Mr.
Yeah.
I think your response is, but, right. The question is, sorry, yeah, right. But Mr. Clemens, did you refuse to meet with the Mitchell Commission? Mr. Clemens, answer. Congressman, I was not told about to come down and visit with Senator Mitchell. He was, I believe, he asked the Players Association is the way that the process worked, and the Players Association then contacted the agents. I don't believe any players, from what I understand, maybe Jason Giambi did go down, he had already talked to the grand jury or what have you, but no, sir. I was never told by my baseball agent or the Players Association that Mr. Mitchell requested to see me. Those letters or phone calls never came to me. You've just testified, I think, that you did know before the Mitchell report that they wanted to talk to you.
Object.
Is that correct? Well, you can answer. Go ahead.
I think his committee, I don't know that it was Mitchell. I don't know that I saw a letter with Senator Mitchell on it. I think his committee, and my baseball agent is more or less Alan Hendricks, not Randy Hendricks.
Right.
Again, when I think the first initial time that I heard from his committee people, I assumed that it was having to deal with the Grimsley affidavit or Grimsley allegations. And then I think after that, I was instructed not to by Mr. Hendricks.
And you maintain that your position not to talk to them, Mitchell or any of his people, even after you learned that you were going to be named in the report,
Object to the form.
prior to the report's issuance.
Again, I knew that the Grimsley report was not true, and the other allegations by McNamee, I was defending myself against those false allegations.
Right. But all of this may have been avoided if you had been able to convince the Mitchell people that you were telling the truth, rather than having to go to Congress and go to court and all the rest, right?
I don't know
Object to
that.
the form.
Right. Okay. Now, have you ever taken a polygraph test about these matters, about whether you took steroids or not?
I have not.
Have you ever asked to?
I have not.
Have you ever considered taking a polygraph test?
I have not.
And why not? Don't you think that would help your situation if you're telling the truth?
Again, talking to different people, you hear one way or the other on them, so I don't know that I have.
You're afraid of failing a polygraph, right?
Object to the form.
No.
So if you took a polygraph and you passed, wouldn't that buttress your situation a lot in the public domain?
Object to the form.
Again, I don't know how reliable they are.
Now, he was found not guilty, and it didn't make any difference to the public.
Well, not guilty is not, he was acquitted.
Let's not have Steve.
Right. The fact is that if you passed a polygraph test right after the Mitchell report came out, don't you think that would have helped your situation a lot, and that Rusty Harden here would have presented that in the press conference?
Object to the form.
Again, I don't know how reliable.
Nobody ever suggested to you to take a polygraph test?
Object to the form.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. And you never considered taking a polygraph test?
I haven't.
Would you take one now?
Don't answer that. That's none of his business.
You're not going to answer whether you would take a polygraph now on instruction of counsel, is that
That's
right?
correct.
Okay. Now, at some point, you got a voicemail in early January of 2008 from Jose Canseco. Is that correct?
What's the date?
Early January 2008, before the congressional hearings, after the news conference.
Possibly.
January 7th. Did you fly him down here and have a conversation with him, Jose Canseco?
In 2008,
Yeah, before the congressional hearings.
I believe Jose, again, I'm not sure of the date, but I know Jose came to Houston, yes.
And you had conversations with him about him initially, at that time, not believing that you didn't use steroids. Isn't that right?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. Can you say it again?
Yeah, you had conversations in these meetings prior to the congressional hearings, talking to him, trying to assure him that you hadn't used steroids when he believed that you did use steroids.
Object to the
Is that
form.
correct? You can answer.
I don't know that I had meetings with Jose.
You never met Jose in early January?
I think he
No.
came,
Sorry, what? All right. Well, maybe I got the date wrong. The voicemail was, my wonderful partner Debbie informs me that the voicemail was January 7th, and that you met with him subsequently prior to going to the congressional hearings in early February. Does that refresh your recollection? Did you meet with him?
I don't understand a voicemail. If he left, did Jose leave me a voicemail, or
Yeah,
did I?
let me show you a transcript of the.
The exhibit doesn't have to be this big, but it is.
No.
Let's just leave it this way. It's the very, very last page.
Okay. On the last page of this exhibit.
Okay.
12?
One that says 29 on top.
And where does it indicate that it's a voicemail? All right. And then at the top of page 29 of this exhibit 12, which is a CD transcription, and it's dated January 7th, 2008 on
Well, wait a
page.
second, guys. This looks to be the Yarborough tape recording with
Well,
Brian.
there's multiple items in there.
In this exhibit?
This is an exhibit from the government.
Okay.
The very last item.
We're only pointing to the last item. I don't care about anything else in this exhibit, okay, just for the record to
We're
be
talking
clear.
about Exhibit A, right?
We're-
About Exhibit 12, rather?
Exhibit 12, yes.
Okay.
We can rip it off and mark it too.
Okay, you're talking about page 29? all the way?
29, January 7th, 2008, it says voicemail from Jose Canseco to Roger Clemens.
Okay.
And Jose Canseco says on this voicemail, according to this transcript, the interview I saw went really good. Listen, if you go before Congress, you ought to bring me to testify in your behalf to kind of destroy McNamee's testimony about what he said, that you were at my house at the party, at the barbecue party. That never happened. You know the part where you had mentioned the club or the Inaudible, where if you won a couple of games on Inaudible that McNamee said he heard. That never happened either. And I'm willing to take a polygraph. Let me take the polygraph. Let me destroy what McNamee has to say. And with that alone, believe me, you may not even have to testify before Congress, and you definitely won't have to take a polygraph. I'll talk to you later. Remember getting that voicemail?
I do a little bit. I mean, I kind of remember. This is one that he sent me, correct?
He left this voicemail
Yes,
for you,
okay.
as I understand it. And as a result of that, did you have subsequent discussions with him prior to the hearings?
I'm not sure. I don't know if he was in Houston. I remember he came to Houston with his high school coach one time and came to my gym, but I don't know if it was before.
Now, at that party in 1998, you were staying at Canseco's house, and your kids and your wife and your nanny were staying at Canseco's house in Tampa, isn't that right? During that homestand, during the Tampa series.
Yeah, I think it was in the Tampa area.
Right, but you were staying at, your family was staying with Canseco at Canseco's house.
And again, I don't know because we had quite a few people there. I'm not sure that we all were staying at Jose's house.
And at some point prior to the congressional hearing, and when this whole issue of you being at the party was becoming such a controversy. By the way, did you know that a man named, perhaps named Gutierrez was at that party? Do you know a guy named Gutierrez who's a Canseco friend?
I don't.
Or that there was somebody at and around Canseco's house in that period named Gutierrez?
I don't.
Right. Now, do you remember around this time that Canseco, that you were having Canseco sign this affidavit to dispute that you were at the party?
I'm not sure what he signed.
Right. Well, he signed an affidavit on January 22nd that essentially communicated that as far as he was concerned, you were not at the party. Is that correct?
Again, I believe I've seen or something that he said that I was not at the party.
Right. And your testimony in Congress was that you may have been at that party at some point. Is that correct?
Objection.
Well,
Objection.
did you ever see a picture of you in a swimming pool with a young man who said he was at the party with you?
Not at the party.
He said he was at the party. Right. He said he was at the party. So
Well,
just,
you're asking him if he's testified to something without showing it to him.
right. Well, let me ask you this. What is your position right now as you sit here today that you were never at that party at any point?
I was not at the barbecue at Jose's house.
But you were at the party at some point, whether at the barbecue or not. You were at a party where you were in a pool at that location.
Objection is to the form.
Okay.
I was not at the barbecue party at Jose's house.
What were you at Jose's house?
Well, again, I think I may have been staying there for the time of the series. I'm not sure if it was 2 days or all 3 days. I can't remember that, but the barbecue party was 11 to 1 o'clock possibly. I don't believe I was there, and I could have come to his house after the fact.
Right. Okay. And you could have been there for a while before you had to go to the game. Is that correct?
Object to the form.
I would say no to that.
And do you remember in the trial seeing a picture of you in a swimming pool with a young man at Jose Canseco's house?
I did.
And is it your testimony that that did not take place at the party?
That was not during the barbecue, no.
Was it that day?
I'm not sure of that.
And did the boy testify that there was a party going on where he was in the pool with you
I'm not sure.
at the trial?
I'm not sure about that. I think an older, who was a boy at the time, came and testified, but I'm
Right.
not sure exactly what he said.
Okay, well, the record will speak for itself on that. But now, when you were during the period between the time that you held your news conference and the time of the congressional hearings, the issue of this party became important to you, didn't it?
Object to the form.
I'm not sure I understand that.
Well,
Party.
you asked Conseco to come here and sign an affidavit during that period of time that you weren't at the party, isn't that correct?
His lawyers did.
Well,
Yeah.
he was,
I'm not
his
sure
lawyers did a
how
lot of
the-
things at
I'm
his
not
direction.
Again, I don't know. I'm not sure how that happened. I believe he
But-
came here with his coach, and I'm not sure if he had something else to do in Houston also.
but
I don't know.
on January 22nd, he signed an affidavit that corroborated your version of not being at the party.
I believe he did. I didn't.
And during that time, did you also contact a former nanny of yours who was taking care of your kids around the 1998 in June?
Counsel sure could have.
Well, so do you know somebody named Roberto?
I do.
Who's Roberto?
Roberto is a gentleman that works on my property, if we're talking about the same Roberto.
And did you ask Roberto to contact a nanny who worked for you at that time? Where's that 302? What? Right. And her name, well, where's her name, first of all? Hold on a second. I see. Her name, I think, was Lily, is that correct? Is that the nanny who was taking care of your kids in 1998 in June?
Oh, yes. So Roberto contacted Lily. Lily, yes. Lily was a nanny for us.
Right. And you sat down with Lily yourself, with no lawyers present, and discussed her memory of that party. Is that
Object
correct?
to the
Or
form.
the memory of events that day.
I'm not real sure how that the conversation went, but I think there was some discussion about it, yes.
But you had Roberto contact her and bring her in 10 years later and talk to her, right?
I'm not sure exactly how we found Lily. I don't know if somebody in my office had her number. Deb had it. But obviously we made contact with her, yes.
And she hadn't worked for you for a long period of time.
Yes.
And you made contact with her and you brought her in and you asked her about her recollections of that day when she was in Tampa, Florida, right?
Object to the form.
I'm not sure that when she came back to the family or when she came back for the incident, how in depth that we were talking about that.
And, well, were you alone with her and talking to her when you were being concerned about corroborating what happened on the day of the party?
I don't know that I was alone
Talking to her?
when I was talking to her. I
Who
could have
else was
been.
with you?
I could have been.
Anyone else that you spoke to? What are we doing?
Go ahead.
His mom. Now, do you have any recollection of who was present when you talked to Lily?
I'm not sure who all was in the house. I think she was at our house, and I'm not sure who all was.
But no lawyers were present, right?
I don't believe so. No.
And you brought her in to get her recollection of what happened in Tampa when she was taking care of the kids at that party, right?
Object to the
Or
form.
at the day of this party.
I'm not sure what was talked about. I know we talked. I don't know that we, like you said, seen each other in 10 years, so I know we visited probably about a number of things, but, and I don't know if Lily was contacted before then or by somebody else. I'm not sure how all that happened.
But Congress contacted Lily subsequently, isn't that correct?
Possibly.
And they took her testimony, did they not?
I would say they did. Again, I don't remember.
And she claimed that she took care of kids at Jose Canseco's house. She said she took care of kids at Jose Canseco's house.
If he knows. I mean,
If
you're
you know,
asking about
right.
something he wasn't present for
Right.
and didn't hear. So
Well,
how does he know?
I wouldn't think that she would take care of Jose Canseco's
No,
kids.
your kids at Jose Canseco's house.
Well, she was taking care of our kids on the trip, so.
Right. And so, and she, in fact, said that there was no party whatsoever on that day. Is that correct?
Object to the form.
Again,
You know,
I
How
don't
would
you
know.
know,
Can you
if you know,
establish a
if you know.
foundation if he knows what she said?
If you know.
I'm not sure. I don't
Okay.
know. I believe we gave Senator Waxman her number, actually.
Congressman Waxman.
Or Congressman Waxman. I think we, yeah.
Right. Well, let me read to you a little bit of her deposition at page 12.
She didn't give a deposition.
Interview. Well,
It's an
this is-
interview.
well, what do you call this?
They
She's
did a
not
phone-
under oath, you're saying?
Absolutely not.
But it's transcribed. Sorry. Um, she's asked question, you do recall whether there was a party at the house with all the Blue Jays over at the house? Answer, sir, I don't, because there is something that I definitely would have remembered, sir. Well, I was there. I know that it wasn't no party. It was just the kids and I and Greg, and we were in the pool. I would have remembered the party, you know, because you would never forget all those big boys and stuff. Many of them, you know, all those parties, having them around, I definitely would have remembered. But your testimony is that there was a barbecue, right?
Again, I don't know what day she's talking about. We were there a couple days, so I don't know.
But she doesn't remember any barbecue or party. She just says she was in the pool with your kids.
Object to the form. What day are we talking about?
Well, they're trying to ask about the day of the party, obviously, but she's saying she has no recollection of a party after having talked to you about this.
Object to the form.
I don't know about that.
All right. Now, you've testified in your congressional deposition, at least, and I think before Congress as well, that you've taken ephedra before it was declared improper to do so. Is that correct?
Yes.
You took it as part of a supplement, a regimen?
I don't know that I took it as a regiment.
Well,
Yes.
you took some ephedra. In what form did you take it?
It was in pill form.
And why did you take it?
From my understanding, it was a natural tree root, and it had caffeine in it, and I wasn't a coffee drinker, so that's how I got my, I guess, my caffeine.
And when was it that you took ephedra? Over what period of time, or approximately?
I don't know when a GNC or somebody would have started. I don't know when it first came out, and I'm not sure that where it first came out.
Did you take it when you were in Boston?
No.
Toronto?
I believe Toronto, yes.
How about Yankees?
Yes, I believe so.
And then Houston? Did you take it when you were in Houston?
I'm not sure when the young player passed from it, and they made it a illegal substance, or they just had people, they took it off the counter.
Did you believe that it would enhance your performance?
No.
Why did you take it?
It just gave me energy.
And doesn't energy enhance your performance?
Yeah, I mean, I think if a cup of coffee did, yeah. I mean, but I don't think it helped my performance.
Did you take it on game days?
Yes, the day I pitched.
Did you take it other days?
Not too often.
So did you think it helped you pitch
It gave me energy, is what I felt. It gave me energy.
in conjunction with your pitching?
It gave me energy. I don't know that it helped me pitch, but it
Right.
gave me energy.
And you took Vioxx. I think you said you took Vioxx like Skittles.
I did.
And you worried about that later on when you found out that Vioxx could be harmful
I did.
to heart or other organs.
I did. I heard it was causing issues with people that had taken it.
And you played, why did you take Vioxx like Skittles?
For inflammation.
And inflammation that caused pain?
I think just inflammation in my joints.
And the inflammation in your joints inhibited your performance?
Yeah, if you had inflammation, it would hinder you. But ice worked good too. So
And the Vioxx you took allowed you to play through what otherwise would have been pain, right?
I don't know that I had swelling in my joints. I don't know that I had pain. I don't know that it cured torn groin but
Well, I mean, joint pain. Did it help you mitigate joint pain?
a little bit.
And that assisted you in pitching?
It helped my swelling in my joints.
Right. And did you take Vioxx only in conjunction with your pitching days, or did you take it at other times as well? After your pitching days? When did you take your Vioxx?
Again, when I couldn't tell you throughout this particular season, but I took it if I had some swelling in my joints to try and minimize that.
And when you had swelling in your joints, did you take it in conjunction with your pitching days?
I'm sure on pitching days I would have been on medicine for my joints if needed, yes.
And that was because you thought you could pitch better if you had less swelling in your joints, correct?
It gave me relief of swelling for sure.
Right. And you got a number of B12 injections over the course of your career, right?
I did.
Some of them from McNamee, is that correct?
Yes.
And others, according to you, from other people as well besides McNamee?
Yes.
There was a doctor in Toronto who gave you one in July of 1998, a B12 injection?
Yes. Not sure he just gave me one, but I believe so, yes.
And were there any other B12 injections you got from somebody other than McNamee?
The Toronto doctor.
Other than the Toronto doctor and McNamee?
I'm sure there were, yes.
Were most of your B12 injections from McNamee?
Again, I believe Brian gave me somewhere between 4 and 5 B12 injections, so I would say somewhere close to that. It kind of runs together I still get them today, so.
But during your baseball career, did he give you more B12 injections than anyone else?
I think it was fairly close. I mean, again, I don't know the exact numbers over the years, but.
And what would why would you get a B12 injection?
Again, I thought it was way back when my mother talked about it, and I always felt that being around a bunch of different athletes, if people were sick, I thought it always helped me or gave me a little energy.
Did you think it would help you with your joints?
I just think it was I felt like it would be healthy. From being sick, if I was around people that were getting sick, and if I felt maybe run down.
Haven't you testified previously that you took B12 to help you with your joints?
I may have. I don't.
And was there any particular types of occasions when you asked for or took a B12 injection?
Over my career?
Yeah, I mean, while you were pitching during the
Oh.
season, what would the triggering event be for you if you decided you wanted a B12 injection?
I don't know that there was a triggering event.
Well, what would cause you to want one?
Again, if I felt that my energy was down or I was feeling sick or...
So you took it when your energy was down to help your energy get up. Is that correct?
I believed it would help that, yes.
Right. And you needed your energy to be a starting pitcher.
Well, I don't know about that, but I just felt like I didn't want to get sick, or if I was around a bunch of guys that were sick or a team. Or
How many times did you have lidocaine injections? Approximately.
Well, lidocaine once from McNamee, and I'm not sure lidocaine or Toradol. I could have had throughout a few times out through my career. I'm not sure.
Only once from McNamee that you remember of
Yes.
lidocaine, according to you?
Yes.
And what was the reason for a lidocaine injection in your mind?
It gave me comfort in my lower back.
Was it also for your joints?
Again, I don't know that it helped that. I do know that the shot that I got from McNamee was, it gave me relief in my lower back for a couple days, if I remember correctly.
And did you give an interview to CBS? I guess this must have been, in fact, it must have been the 60 Minutes interview, where Mike Wallace says, well, he asks you some questions, and you say, Clemens says, and the quote is, Clemens says McNamee did in fact inject him, but only with, quote, from Roger Clemens, lidocaine and B12, it's for my joints, and B12 I still take today. You remember saying that on 60 Minutes?
I do. I think that's an accurate quote, yes.
Right, and that's, and at that time, your view was that the lidocaine and B12 was for your joints?
For my inflammation.
And that was to help you be an effective pitcher?
Again, it was, the B12, I thought it was healthy and it made me feel healthy. And I know the lidocaine gave me relief in my lower back.
At one point, did Mr. McNamee give you a little white pill, it was called, that gave you energy?
There was something there was something to the effect that he gave me a pill with some vitamins.
And what was the effect on you of that pill?
The same as I remember, same as similar to a hydroxycut or Thermocore.
Excuse me, a what?
Of ephedra. I think
Of
that's
ephedra.
what
Same as ephedra. Did McNamee tell you what it was?
he did not.
Did you ever ask him what it was?
I did.
And what did he say?
He said it was, I believe he said it was something to that nature.
And it was like drinking 10 cups of coffee, or
That's what I remember.
yeah,
Yep.
I think you said it was something like drinking 10 cups of coffee. Did you ever take more of those pills?
I did not.
You didn't like that particular pill?
I think I brought it to his attention.
Do you remember when in the course of your relationship with McNamee gave you this pill? Was it
I can't remember.
when you were with Toronto?
don't remember. I don't remember that.
Okay. And was he giving it to you because he thought it would help your capacity to play ball?
I don't know why he did it.
Now, are you aware that in the year 2000, HGH was not banned by Major League Baseball?
I did not know that.
Do you know that it was only listed as a banned substance in 2005?
Again, I don't know what the years on when it was in existence before.
Can you shut that damn thing off? Sorry, hold on. Turn it off. Come here. Phones. When was ephedra banned? Do you know when ephedra was banned? Approximately?
I don't. I just know. I'm obviously quite. I think the hydroxycut and Thermacor is back on the market, but I don't believe it has ephedra in it. So I don't know when it was banned.
All right, but it was banned in Major League Baseball, wasn't it, at some point?
I believe so.
And you'd taken it before it was banned.
Yes.
And HGH was banned in 2005, is that right? If I
Again,
represent to you that it was a prescription drug, but it was banned by Major League Baseball in 2005, you don't have any information that that's wrong, do you?
or correct.
Okay. So in 2000, when Mr. McNamee says that he injected you, what? Right. What, for ephedra? 2004. So, right. So, when Mr. McNamee says he injected you with HGH in 2000, there would have been nothing wrong with that from Major League Baseball, would there? As far as you know.
I don't know that.
The only issue would be taking it without a prescription. Isn't that correct?
Again,
Right. So if you
Wasn't a
knew that,
concern.
there wouldn't be any big deal about you taking HGH, right?
again, I don't know that.
You're taking Vioxx, you're taking B12, you're taking lidocaine, you're taking ephedra. What's the difference in your mind between HGH and these other drugs?
Well, the difference is I think that HGH and steroids hurt you and break you down. Again, with the Vioxx, I wasn't really happy knowing that it caused issues with your heart, and I believe people were dying from it. So that was scary to me. And the other one, I said the B12, I think it helped me. Obviously now I've heard different things from different doctors. It does feel like it helps some people and not others.
You consulted doctors about that?
I just heard a doctor in the trial say it. And, but I think a long time before that, when I was taking it in pill form, I would think I was taking it in pill form from Boston. My mother told me about it. So, and the other stuff, like I said, was, I think it gave me, got rid of some swelling and things of that nature.
All of these drugs that you do agree that you took were meant to increase your capacity to pitch well, right? I mean, at some level.
Object to the form.
Well, you were taking these drugs when you were a major league pitcher, so that you felt good to pitch, right?
Again, I think that gave me relief in my joints and took down some of the swelling. I ice quite a bit too, so, and that helps immensely.
So if you learned that HGH did the same thing as these other drugs, you'd take that too, right?
Object to the form.
I don't agree with that.
You think HGH is different from these other drugs?
I think HGH, and from what I know, is very harmful, and I don't think it helps you. And the same thing with steroids.
But in 2000, you had no idea about anything about HGH, according to you, right?
I didn't know a lot about it.
Right. You didn't know a lot about it when you called Brian McNamee, when your wife was injected with it, did you?
I would agree with that.
And so if you'd been told that this was a good thing, you might have taken it, right?
Again, the only thing I knew about good about HGH was that article or show that I saw that it helped the older man in the quality of life.
Right. And nobody ever told you that it was good for recovery?
Again, I didn't hear that.
Well, one of the major concerns of a major league pitcher, a starting pitcher, is recovery, right?
A starting pitcher, you got to be ready to go about every 5 days.
Right. So recovery is a very big issue for you.
It's not, I don't think it's a big issue for me.
Big issue for every starting pitcher.
I would say yes to that.
Okay. And so anything that could help you recover that wasn't illegal or banned, you'd take, right?
Well, mainly for me, it was ice. I mean, if I had to pick one thing that was great for me, was my body still today responds well to ice.
But you took Vioxx, and you took B12, and you took lidocaine, and you took ephedra also, besides ice, right?
Yes.
And okay, how much time we have here? What? Sorry? Yeah. Okay. I'll be done soon.
I mean,
23 minutes left. Can you make it? There's nothing you can't make. Ephedra was banned after somebody died from using it. Is that correct? Or is that, as far as you know, you heard something about that?
I think I heard something about that. I don't think that was the main cause, but I'm not sure.
And Vioxx was taken off the market because of its effect on people's circulatory and heart systems, right?
I believe so.
And you took a little white pill that McNamee gave you just because he said to take it?
It was sitting out with my vitamins that I take daily.
And you just took it without knowing what it was?
I did.
Right. And you trusted McNamee with your diet?
I'm not sure that he had me on a diet.
Well, he was getting you to watch your eating, wasn't he?
I think I was pretty good about watching what I ate. I don't think that he had a lot to do with that.
And he put together a vitamin regimen for you?
No, I was taking men's one a day and vitamins and B12 in the pill form for quite a while.
Did he discuss your vitamin regimen and try and make it better?
I don't think so. Not too often. I mean, again, I think he was working with companies that, protein companies or things like that. I would see him with shirts on, but I don't know to what extent he was with them.
But it's fair to say, isn't it, that you were listening to him and working with him to improve your performance for 10 years?
objective form.
Again, we talked about when we would train, or he would get information from me about catching and what I liked about him catching, and the workouts. He showed me, I think, if it was 10 years, like you're stating, a couple new different ways to do a sit-up and some leg work. But again, I would, that was really about it.
You understood his goal with you was to get you as an older pitcher to recover well and to stay strong, right?
That was my goals as a pitcher, but just to try and stay in decent shape, but again, he was really good at working me out, and we had a good relationship working out.
And you understood his goal was to play to your goals of staying strong as an older pitcher.
I would think that would be his goal, to working with all the guys that he worked with.
Well, I'm talking about you now.
I would say I was one of those guys.
Right. And the fact is that, well, withdraw that. You ever hear that B12 was code name for steroids?
Not until somebody, I think, said it in maybe the trial, or somebody. I read it somewhere.
You've never heard that people would say B12 and that would really just mean that they wanted a steroid shot during the time you were pitching?
I don't know that I heard it in that manner.
And do you know that Conseco has used that, said that code name for steroids was B12?
Again, I may have heard that somewhere. I don't know if it came from him, but it sure could have.
And that was true, was it not, when you played with him in Boston?
I don't know that to be true.
Or Toronto or the Yankees? Now, just one final thing. When you were hired Mr. Harden and you were going to fight these allegations against you in around Christmas of 2007 and the beginning of 2008, and you had a press conference and you filed a lawsuit and you went on 60 Minutes, right? There was a point at which you did all those things.
Yes, I had a press conference, and yes.
Right, to fight the accusations against you.
To defend myself, yes, I hired Rusty.
And you had hired a public relations firm as well, correct? To work with you on this effort.
I think they were hired through Rusty and them.
Right. And you put together at your request, in order, as you say, to defend yourself, you put together a public relations strategy initiative to brand McNamee as a liar.
Object to the form.
Is that correct?
Again, I hired Rusty and his firm, along with Randy Hendricks, to defend me against false allegations that were said by Brian McNamee.
And part of that effort to defend you was to make it clear that Brian McNamee was lying about these accusations. That you understood that, right?
Yes.
And part of showing, in your view, that he was a liar was doing public relations that would demonstrate that he was a liar.
Object to the form.
Again, I was just defending myself against allegations that I knew that weren't true.
But that was the method by which you were defending yourself, by making sure that the public understood from your point of view that McNamee was a liar.
Object to the form.
Again, I had a press conference defending myself, for sure.
Right. And when Mr. Harden made statements to the press, he was acting on your behalf. Isn't that correct?
I'm not sure what, I know that Rusty was going to deal with the media or press, but I had no idea.
You never objected to anything.
You didn't let him finish. You had no idea what.
I had no idea what Rusty was going to say.
Right, but you never told Rusty not to say things to the press. Is that correct?
I knew that Rusty was going to deal with the press. I had no idea what.
And you authorized him to
say.
deal with the press as part of his retention.
I hired Rusty to defend me against false allegations.
And part of that was speaking to the press.
Yes, I figured he was going to be speaking to the press.
And you hired Lanny Brewer for the same reason, isn't that right?
Yes, Lanny was, I think, part of the legal team.
Right, and you hired him as part of his job to speak to the press.
I hired him to help defend me.
And you hired him for the congressional hearings specifically, right?
I don't know about specifically, I think, but Lanny was at the hearings, yes.
Right, and help prepare you for the hearings.
I think we prepared for the hearings, yes.
And as part of his job, he spoke to the press on occasion, did he not?
Again, I believe Lanny would have talked to the press if he was asked to, or
And he did that with your authorization.
again, I hired him to represent me against false allegations. I didn't know what he was going to say to the press.
Right. I'm not suggesting you knew exactly what he was going to say. I'm just suggesting that you didn't tell him as part of his job not to talk to the press, right?
I don't know that I told him that, no.
Right. You didn't tell him, don't talk to the press.
No.
You said, say to the press what best defends me, right?
I don't know that I told him that.
Well, but that was the message you conveyed in so many words, right? As part of your job, say to the press what best defends me.
Object to the form.
I didn't tell him that, no.
You didn't object to when he talked to the press. Let's be clear about that.
I hired them to defend me.
Right. And the same
against
was true. Sorry.
Against
go ahead.
false allegations, and again, I didn't know what they would say to the press.
And Mr. Harden was, when you say they, you mean Mr. Harden and Lanny Brewer and whoever was working with them.
Correct.
And when you and all I'm trying to find out is that did you ever read or hear anything that they said to the press, either Mr. Harden or Lanny Brewer, that you objected to?
Again, I obviously was at a press conference where Rusty spoke, but I don't know.
Did you object to anything Mr. Harden said?
I did not.
Did you object to anything that Lanny Brewer said?
I did not.
I think that's all we have. Right? I think we're good. Obviously, you understand, Rusty, that our position is, I know you disagree with it, that we're leaving this open pending the outcome of the other rulings on the privileges from the judge, and whatever is revealed, depending on what it is revealed, we'll be seeking to perhaps continue this as, sorry, what? Well, and when we find out which documents we get, if we get any documents, we will then revisit the question of whether this deposition can be extended for those purposes or any other appropriate purposes.
Well, I understand that's your position.
Right.
It's the first I knew that you were going to take, remember we suggested that you wait to take these depositions until the judge ruled on those documents, because to avoid this very issue for having to submit him twice.
Right.
So we'll oppose him giving another one. You've got a few more minutes if you want. I don't know how much you've got, 10 minutes.
Well,
but for the record, we're going to declare this deposition confidential under the protective order.
Oh, you're doing that at this point?
Yes.
Okay. Now, just to be clear, you said before, I'm sorry, I'm just blanking on what you said before. You said that you had opposed bringing him back. I understand that, but you're also aware that Judge Pollack said that we should go forward with these depositions and not wait till the rulings were made, because we wanted to get moving on this and get a lot done, and we got a lot done today. So I think we accomplished something by doing what we did.
Yeah, I understand that was Judge Pollack's position.
Right.
Obviously, if Judge Pollack rules that you're entitled to ask those questions that I instructed him not to answer to,
right, we have those issues
you
outstanding.
certainly would be able to do that.
Right.
But I'm objecting to extending the deposition once the documents come in. And that's,
I'm sure Mr. Clemens wants to come back, so
yeah.
we'll just let him decide.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Time is 6:10 p.m. We're off.